Hello, everybody. A very good evening and welcome to Kickstart's eClinic webinar. The topic for today is home environment and falls. So, like we mentioned in our flyers, today we are going to learn about how to reduce risk falls for our senior members at home with the help of occupational therapy. Before we begin, for those who are new, let me tell you a little about Kickstarts. Oh, and sorry, let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Mahima Bhuta, an occupational therapist. So Kickstarts is a company which has the motto of healthy and inclusive workplace. We have various services. One, which is diversity inclusion. We work for vocational rehabilitation and placements of people with special needs. A power program which focuses on corporate health and ergonomics, and a declutter program which is a mental health and wellness. We as occupational therapists believe in a whole rehabilitation and a holistic approach. For those who cannot reach to their therapists or need help right now, we are giving an e-clinic service for various problems such as mental health, home modifications, geriatric care, which we will be seeing there, pain, neurological care, ergonomics, and posture. You can reach out to us for anything. Now, without delaying any further, I would like to introduce our first speaker for the day, Dr. Vidisha Nair. Dr. Vidisha Nair is an OTD, that is an occupational therapy doctorate. She is currently working at a skilled nursing facility called Burlingame in California, USA. She has done her master's from University of California and her bachelor's from none other than our KEM hospital. Our second speaker for the day is Dr. Priya Parikh, who also is working at a geriatric care OT skilled nursing facility in Arizona, USA. She is as well an OT doctorate. She has done her master's and doctorate from University of California and her bachelor's from KEM. I would like to mention that both our speakers today are specialists in the field of geriatrics, and they are working at the front line while I speak. While we planned this webinar, they have been on the front line working with our geriatric patients. Now, I request the speakers to please take over. And also the questions for this webinar will be taken at the end. You can drop your question in the chat section and we will make sure that we answer all your questions. Vidisha Nair, over to you.
Screen share, Mahima?
Yeah, you can share your screen.
You see it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So good morning, everybody. My name is Vidisha Nair, and today with my friend Priya Parikh, we're going to speak about home environment and falls. Can you still see my screen? No.
No, Vidisha.
Now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like Mahima introduced to us, Priya and I have been friends for I don't know how long, but we both did our masters and doctorate together in the University of Southern California. And we have also completed our bachelor's together from St. G.S. Medical College and KEM Hospital. So the objectives for our today's session is basically to identify the factors that contribute to a risk for fall for older adults at home. We want to define the role of occupational therapists in reducing the risk of falls at home. We, through this webinar, want to help identify strategies and resources to reduce the risk of falls at home. So what is a fall? A fall is defined as an event which results in person coming to rest inadvertently on the ground or floor or the lower level. Fall-related injuries may be fatal or non-fatal, though most are non-fatal. फॉल के कारण आपकी जान भी जा सकती है या नॉन फेटल इंजरीज भी हो सकती है लाइक हिप फ्रैक्चर्स, हेड इंजरीज एंड सो ऑन. According to the report by the World Health Organization in the year 2018, there were about 6 lakhs deaths in that year due to falls, which makes it internationally the second leading cause of unintentional injury death. In India, about 14 to 53% of older adults above the age of 60 experience fall. So now let's look into the various factors that lead to a fall. Firstly, it is the physical factors such as changes in the skeletal muscle strength. Older adults with growing age definitely find a change in their skeletal muscle strength and balance, like takat and santulan, and this is an age-related change that they observe. They also find changes in their vision due to disorders like cataract, glaucoma, or diabetic retinopathy, जिसके वजह से उनका vision weak हो जाता है. With growing age, people find changes in their bone integrity, like they notice differences in the curvature of their spine, they notice spinal changes, and also bone integrity changes caused due to osteoporosis, osteopenia. Talking about changes in blood pressure, let me give you an example. We always find ourselves dizzy, or we always find ourselves having blackouts when we are lying in our bed and suddenly have been asked to sit at the edge of the bed. We do not know what happens, but we are surely dizzy. This is a common finding in older adults, which is called orthostatic hypertension. Finally, secondary physical changes can happen due to primary diagnosis like diabetes. People with diabetes definitely sometimes, most of the times, face conditions like peripheral neuropathy, which is secondary to the primary diagnosis of diabetes, which may cause changes in sensation. Yani how you feel a certain object below your foot is questionable. There are also side effects of medications that you might take, like antihypertensive, which help your blood pressure, antipsychotics, and diuretics that increase your chances of a fall. Moving on to cognitive factors. People who are diagnosed with dementia, Alzheimer's dementia, or disorders like Parkinson experience changes in their safety awareness, decision making, memory, judgment. For example, people who have dementia, they do not understand, उनको नहीं समझ में आता कि उनके face में objects कैसे placed है. And even when they show poor judgment, with that spatial recognition, they find it very difficult on how to manipulate and how to work around the place objects in their environment. Behavioral risk factors. Behavior risk factors, like we see, are things that we do consciously or subconsciously to make things happen in our environment. Give this picture on the left side of the screen. You can see that this lady is trying to reach something over the cabinet. I'm sure we all have done that in our lives. So, but she is standing on a stool that can move, and she can fall right on the floor. And you can also see her vacuum cleaner where she can hurt her hip or her ribs. Fear of falling. Fear of falling is a lasting concern about falling in older adults that can lead to them avoiding activities in their daily routine, which they surely have the ability to perform. But in their minds, have that fear that, oh no, अगर मैं उठूंगा, मैं चलूंगा, तो मैं definitely गिर जाऊंगा. And that's why they have difficulties in performing their daily routine. Environmental factors. These two pictures are very self-explanatory where I'm talking about environmental factors. The amount of clutter, the amount of reduced lighting, slippery floors, and things like that in our environment increase our chances of having a fall. Socio-cultural factors like spiritual practices, the way we offer our spiritual services, their positioning and things like that affect our ability to do certain things and increase our risk of fall given the postural changes that we observe during offering our spiritual practices. About habits, we have been so used to doing things all our lives that it is difficult for us to change our habits. But definitely, if we look into these habits, we would find ourselves performing unsafe things at home that might increase our chances for a fall. So moving forward, Dr. Priya Parekh, oh, sorry, hold on. Oh, so moving on to what is occupational therapy. And this is my favorite part. Occupational therapists and occupational therapy assistants help people across the lifespan participate in the things they want to do, need to do, and love to do through the therapeutic use of everyday activities. So moving on, Dr. Priya Parekh is going to guide you all into the role of occupational therapy in fall prevention.
Hello, everyone. My name is Priya. So let's talk about OT. So what exactly is the role of OT? So basically, we help with physical and cognitive evaluation where we see how an individual's bone integrity looks like, how their brain functioning comes into the picture when we are looking at falls. Also, we can have evaluations when we take a deeper look at an individual's home environment and see what changes can be made or modifications can be made so that they can perform their favorite occupations safely. So, and we help learn strategies so that they can actually perform those activities. So one thing, whenever we talk about prevention, is teamwork. घर में सभी लोग रहते हैं and सभी लोग साथ में मिलके ये fall prevent कर सकते हैं. So everyone actually plays a very proactive role when we talk about fall prevention at home. So let us get that gear on and let us all help our seniors at home so that they don't fall. So let us talk about space management. As Dr. Vidisha spoke about clutter, so हम क्या कर सकते हैं is to take away all the clutter from the floor. Many a times हम लोग देखते हैं कि जमीन पे चीजें बिखरी पड़ी रहती है. That just increases the risk of fall. So जो चीज जहाँ से ली है वहाँ ही वापस रखनी है. You would often have heard that from our mother saying that things were right at the place and you just misplaced it or it's still lying on the floor or something. So do listen to your mothers, young people who are listening to this webinar. Other thing is firmly secure your floor mats. Ya fir just remove those floor mats. We often see these floor mats at the entrance of our doors or at the entrance of our bathroom. And these places are often the ones where we see or where we observe some of these falls happening because of the edges of these floor mats curling on, which just leads to a fall. If you see a lot of wires lying around on the floor, like computer wires, cable wires, just tie them together. What an OT can help with in this situation is recommend furniture arrangement following ergonomic principles. So what exactly are ergonomic principles or ergonomics in general, if we say so? So ergonomics is हमारा interaction in the environment in a way कि वो हमारे सेहत को कैसे affect करता है. I have had a case or a situation where people were like, oh, we can just, arrange a furniture in a way that they do not come in an individual's path of walking. And why would we need an OT for that? Saman bas idhar rakh diya ya corners pe rakh diya, ho gayi cheez. But what happened was, even jab they kept these furnitures at a space that they thought it was the perfect place, the person was repeatedly banging against the edges of the furniture, which were just sticking out, and that resulted into fall. So what an OT can help with is to either collaborate with the carpenters or with the people living in that place and help them decide and come up with a perfect position for that furniture. Or sometimes you can also recommend the padding, which people usually use to baby-proof the entire house. It is soft, it just takes care of all the edges, and that's how a home would be safer place with the furniture placement. Going ahead with inaccessibility. So जैसे हमने पहले picture में देखा, there was this lady, she was standing on the chair, and it's not only her. I have done that. Vidhi's done that. I bet all the people on this webinar would have definitely done that. Standing on a chair or a stool, ठीक है ना, एक ही minute लगेगा, chair ले लेते हैं. But no, is that safe? No, definitely not. So do not stand on a chair. Ask for the help. If there are people in the house who are taller than you or probably have better accessibility or reach, ask for help. There is no harm in asking for help. Or what you can do is just have a stool or a ladder with handrails. Also, there is another excellent option which can be used for inaccessible places, which is a reacher. In the next slide, I would definitely show you how or what a reacher looks like, but it's very easily available. Amazon पे मिल जाता है, अभी काफी stores में भी मिल जाता है, and it's not that expensive. Or the best case scenario, just keep things at the shoulder level. So you don't have to go overhead to take anything. Everything would be at the shoulder level, making it easier to reach for things. Similarly, what OT can help with this is, again, home evaluation, judging your height, seeing the dimensions of the place, and then just advising what would be the best position or where things would definitely be accessible without putting an extra load on your joints. We can also definitely recommend assistive equipments like raised toilet seat, shower chair, bed rails. Raised toilet seats भी हमें काफी बार मिल जाती है market में. And if you want to do that, we can definitely ask our carpenters to help and make a cutout chair or a stool. As we see on the right side, that is an example of a raised toilet seat. आप देख सकते हैं, there are handrails and there are some padding on the handrails, which just makes it easier for the individual to use it. लेफ्ट साइड पे आप एक शावर चेयर देख सकते हो. इंडियन बाथरूम्स में हम काफी बार देखते हैं कि देयर आर स्टूल्स यूज्ड, बट sometimes these stools are lower in height, which just puts extra stress on their knees or hip joint, which just reduces, not reduces, increases chances of fall. So instead of lower stools, we can just use a higher or raised shower chair. Left bottom corner में हम देख सकते हैं, there's this lady who's using a reacher. Now the picture is not that clear, but it actually looks like a stick and it has a mouth opening and a handle, and it has an opening and closing function, which would help to lift like 1 kg items very easily without dropping them down. And in the middle picture, there are bed rails. So many times we see that people sleep on the edge of the bed and फिर रात को ही गिर जाते हैं because कोई supporting structure नहीं था. So in these situations, a bed rail definitely helps avoid falls that happen at night or during sleep. Wet floors. So जब भी कोई स्पिल होता है, just wipe them immediately, या फिर आप rub back bath mat use कर सकते हैं. In most common situations or scenarios, we see water spill right in front of a bathroom. So 2 things, wipe them down and also use a rubber backed bath mat जो आपको again Amazon पे मिल सकता है, दूसरी काफी general stores में मिल सकती है. They act as a non-skid mat. यानी कि अगर आप उस पे चलते और पानी हो तो भी आप स्लिप नहीं होगे. So the best case scenario, and they're not that expensive, they're very cheap, so you can just get it readily available at any store and then just keep it near your bathroom. Also, जब भी आप नहा के निकलो, wipe out the water. I remember my mother always saying that, do not keep the bathroom floor wet, wipe it out, and now I definitely know why she says that. What a note can help in this situation is teach ergonomic strategies to bend down. Now we all know, अरे झुकना ही तो है, but no, there are strategies which actually would protect your joints in a way that there is not more wear and tear of those joints. So we teach particular strategies, keeping in an individual's personal characteristics in mind, how to bend down. We can also recommend specific bath mats in this situation that would be more feasible or more appropriate for the kind of bathroom you have. Support structures. तो ये भी हमने काफी बार देखा है कि हम लोग चल रहे हैं, if we trip or if we slip, what we do is we hold on to the towel bars if we are in the bathroom, or sink edges if the sink is outside in the hallway, or just some feeble furniture or chair. But again, those just increases the risk of fall because they are not that stable and sturdy. So what can we do in that? Install grab bars. If you see there are spaces where individuals are supposed to, or they are prone to falls, just install those grab bars right there. One of the most common places is the hallways, bathroom. Have that at different places. And grab bars again, आपको hardware में मिल सकते हैं, Amazon पे मिल सकता है. You can also work with your carpenter to just design those kind of grab bars. Of course, designing it also requires technical skills, so definitely collaborate with an OT for that, and also install a skid rubber to prevent the slipping. So in this picture you can see how a grab bar looks like and a bath looks like. On the right side there are grab bar, which is specifically in this case shown a bathroom, and on the left side again it's a bathroom. But again, आप grab bar hallway में लगा सकते हो, near the sink, in the bathroom, near the toilet, any place basically which you think would be susceptible to a fall. Addressing vision. So काफी बार low vision जिसको भी रहता है, they have trouble distinguishing between different surfaces. So आप ये example में देख सकते हो, on the left side there are these stairs which do not have any demarcation, so the risk of fall increases. And on the upper picture you can see those yellow strips. So basically they are rubber strips, or you can even paint like a yellow neon paint which increases the contrast, which helps an individual to see कि ऊपर का स्टेप किधर है या नीचे का स्टेप किधर है. So वो सिर्फ ज्यादा contrast देता है, and usually they use these bright colors जो एकदम दिख के आता है, भर के आता है. In the bottom picture, I don't know how feasible this gets, but many a times लोग घर पे ऐसे black paint लगाते हैं for the edges or covering the borders of edges to just show कि इधर edge है and it ends here, so do not bang into the surface, something like that. And also avoid moving quickly from dark place to a light place, क्योंकि हम काफी बार अंधेरे से light में फटाफट जाते हैं, तो it takes us some time to accommodate to that brightness, and that can also lead to a fall. Speaking about lighting, what can we do? So we can use these night lights in bedroom, bathroom, hallways, ताकि जब भी हम रात को उठे, so there is still some source of light which is illuminating the pathway towards the bathroom or towards the hallways. हम देखते हैं there are these motion sensor lights, which again I don't think they're that expensive. Motion sensor lights are basically they're very small lights, or also installed in the hallway or the common pathways, और जब भी आप चलते हो तो automatically it detects some kind of motion and it just illuminates the space. I wouldn't say कि वो एकदम bright light create करेंगे, but it would be enough so that the pathway is illuminated and you can see where you are going. Also, flashlights, torches, keep it near your nightstand or in the drawer, which is very easily reachable, because काफी बार अगर light चली गई, तो flashlights are the best thing that you can have. So ऐसा ना हो कि light चली गई, flashlight है but वो दूर है और उधर तक पहुंचने में ही हम गिर गए. No, that's just not meeting the purpose. So just keep it next to you. What OT can help with is do a light evaluation. So जैसा मैंने बोला, light sensors है, dim lights है, not too stimulating lights जिससे again eye accommodation नहीं होता है, vision accommodation नहीं होता है. So dim lights रहती है, they are usually in the shades of tinge of yellow or orange. They are good calming lights that you can use, and OT can also make sure that those lights are not causing any glare. As I said, dim yellow or orange light, they do not cause that kind of a glare if they are positioned at the right place. So again, you do need an OT to see what would be or where would be the best place to just install these lights. Moving forward, physical activity. So we see a beautiful, nice man dancing there. Yes. So just stay active, engage in your occupations or hobbies, jaise dance, yoga, exercise. Also engage in cognitive activities like puzzle solving, Sudoku, find the difference. Any kind of activities, it just, makes you more active, both physically and mentally, because we saw in our previous slides where Dr. Vidisha was talking about different factors which play into falls. What OT can help with is we can definitely recommend graded activities based on an individual's capacities by making use of their favorite occupation. Yani ki we would definitely see what an individual is going through, what the person's physical composition looks like, how their bone health is, what things do they like, and depending on that, we can recommend exercises. Just say it can be aquatic exercises if people love pool and exercises, giving the mix of both. So we can just recommend those graded exercises which can really help boost up the strength, balance, and endurance. Functional abilities. Know your limitation. See आप क्या कर सकते और क्या नहीं कर सकते. Do not push yourself, because if you cannot do it, your body is actually giving you those signs. Do not do it. And do listen to your body, because no one knows you better than your own self. What you can also do is काफी बार हम देखते हैं कि pajama पहनना. We stand and put our pajamas. So instead of standing, आप बैठ के कीजिए. It just reduces the risk of fall. That's it. Prayers या spiritual practices में काफी बार हम देखते हैं नीचे जमीन पे बैठ के हम करते हैं. Now जमीन पे बैठना is not a problem, but if you do have any joint issues or joint concerns, it's okay. The end product is, or the end result is your spiritual practice, and it's okay if you sit on a chair. So आप chair या थोड़ा raised stool या ऐसा कुछ use कीजिए जिसपे आप बैठ सकते हो. Do not sit on the floor. But definitely, we can help you in this as well. OTs, there we go. So we would definitely teach safe ways to continue to do what you can do based on your functional abilities. So OTs have these skills which can definitely help you if you want, if it be to sit on the floor. हम आपको वो strategies दे सकते हैं through exercises or different activities जिससे आप नीचे बैठ सकते हो. But please do not do it if you cannot do it. You need a professional to teach you how to do it. Moving forward, other essential steps. So what you can do is आप अपने डॉक्टर को पूछिए what are the effects of medication. Most of the times what happens is doctors write the prescription, we take it, we go to the pharmacy, we take those medication, and that's it. No, ask questions. Questions are good. It just improves your knowledge. And I'm sure physicians would be happy to answer those questions. So do ask them, what are the effects of the medication? ताकि आपको पता चले, and you are more aware of those things. Just that. Get your eyes checked regularly. I know people say get it checked like quarterly or once in 6 months, yearly, be it, but just get your eyes checked. Do not postpone it. And choose your shoes carefully. So yes, नबी लोग shoes बाहर भी पहनते हैं, घर पे भी पहनते हैं. So it becomes very important because right as of now we are speaking about preventing falls at home. There are people who do wear shoes at home. But हम लोग काफी बार जो भी घर, क्योंकि घर पे पहन रहे हैं, तो जो भी मिला वो पहन लेते हैं. Any inexpensive chappals we wear at home because it's a home footwear, right? But do make sure कि वो shoes पे grips अच्छी हो, क्योंकि अगर grip अच्छी रहेगी तो even if पानी या कुछ रहेगा, it wouldn't lead into an instant fall. Definitely you would need other support structures or things to prevent that tripping or slipping. But shoes can also play a big picture. Flat soles जिसमें कोई grip नहीं है, वो पहनेंगे तो हमारा slip होने का chances बढ़ जाता है. So do not, just be careful when you choose your shoes. carefully. And yeah, so as we talk about these strategies, काफी बार we would be thinking that अरे इसमें क्या है? We know what to do. Some of these strategies were common sense. इसके लिए OT की क्या जरूरत है? Many times I do say that, you know, we all are our own OTs. We do have those, you know, common sense skills that just makes us, you know, have these strategies readily. But we do need OT because OTs possess these skills which are critical to address fall prevention. We have these skills so that we can evaluate and address the influence things that influence these people. We look at their roles and routines, and we can link their goals with the modifications and adaptations that support their ability to participate, ताकि आप अपनी चीजें कर सको, whatever is meaningful to you. So please do, I mean, even if you have these strategies for more technicalities, definitely consult an OT. And from now, we saw preventive measures. Now, Dr. Vidisha would talk about what if a fall does happen? What would you do in that situation? So over to you, Vidhi.
Thank you, Pri. So, beyond all the strategies that we have just explained, what if the fall actually happened? Before following any of these steps, know where you're at in space, know how you're feeling, know how your body just responded to the fall. If you feel like you have any pain या कोई भी दर्द है आपके lower back में, hip में, or anything like that, you need to hold back and try to reach for some medical alert emergency services, or try to reach a call because you might have experienced a hip fracture or a low spinal fracture or something like that. We have to be very careful about head injuries, about these fractures. The way you recover from this fall, it's going to be even worse if you do not manage it carefully. So to prepare for a fall, there are steps on these on the slide where you can see that you need to first look around for a sturdy space or a sturdy piece of furniture where you can hold on to for support when you try to lift yourself up from the floor. For rising, you need to push your upper body up. So turn over first onto one side, push your upper body up, slowly go on all fours like a baby would try to stand up. It's just exactly the same. So you have to be the baby, but you have to go on all the fours and try to go closer to a chair. So next, where you see right here is you will try to place one hand on the chair and then slowly try to place the other hand on the chair. And from the kneeling position, you can slowly rise, turn your body and try to sit on the chair. Sit for a few minutes before you try to do anything else. Now, often with us, we realize that, oh, I just had a fall. It's going to be fine. It's going to take me 10 days. Na theek ho jayega. No, your doctors are the first ones who need to know that you had a fall. You need to call them up. You need to tell them that I was dizzy. I was having so and so difficulty. I cannot breathe. I'm in pain, so and so. So your doctors definitely need to know that you had a fall, and they would be the one to guide you from there on. But this scenario, what I'm presenting here, is when you are all alone and do not have a caregiver to support you. But let's see what a caregiver can help you with to recover from a fall.
Only attempt to help a person if you feel that both of you are able to safely work together. Otherwise, call for assistance. To help someone up from the floor, they will need to get into a rolling position. The person is on their back. Help them to bend their knees up, reach across their body in the direction they want to go, and roll over onto their help by gently pushing the hips and shoulder areas. Now help them to bring the top leg out in front of the bottom. Place your hand under the shoulder, touching the floor, and lift the person so they can pull out the arm and wrist. Now, move your hands to the hips and help lift them
One.
allowing the patient to guide the
Vidisha,
person
can you
Yes.
explain along?
Oh,
help them pull their knee forward.
Here's the
place
top
their
Wikipedia.
knee
can
under
you not hear it?
This should be done with the
No, the sound is soft.
come around to the other side of the person and help lift them to stand, hooking one arm and their arm.
Okay.
Feel that
So
both of you are able to
this
safely
is how a caregiver can help you when you're recovering from a fall.
together. Otherwise,
So,
to help someone up from the floor, they will need to get into a crawling position.
okay. So this person is, as you can see, is on the floor and the caregiver is helping them recover from this fall. So what you're going to do is step one is bend over their knees.
The person is on their back. Help them to bend their knees up, reach across their body in the direction they want to go, and roll over onto their side.
So now you help them slowly roll over to the other side so they can start initiating the posture
Help
to
by
go
gently
into all
pushing at
fours.
the hips and shoulder areas. Now help them to bring the top leg out in front of the body. Place your hand under the shoulder, touching the floor, and lift the person so they can pull out the arm and rest
So
on
you
it.
have to slowly with the
Now,
your
your
hand
hands
on
to
the
hips
shoulder and on the
help
hip, you
lift
have
them
to
up and
help them
over, allowing
lift
the
up
patient
on
to
the
get
all
multiple
fours.
hands. Guide the person in
Slowly
need
guide
close
them
to a sturdy
to a
piece
steady
of
surface
furniture and place their
and place your
help them
hands
to
on it.
pull their knee forward and place their foot under the knee.
Help with their
This should be
knee.
done with the leg they feel is the strongest. Come to the other side of the person and
Now
lift
you have
them
to
and
the other
hook
side
one arm
and
under
help
their
them
arm
stand up.
and placing your other hand on their back. Remind the person to lean forward, pushing up with the bent leg and both arms. Have the person stand for a moment and make sure they're steady and not dizzy. Slowly turn and sit.
So you have to make sure that they're leaning forward while they're on their one knee so that they're able to lean forward and give themselves a little momentum to stand up from the floor. Just like this, caregivers can assist you with to recover from a fall. So when we were talking about using a telephone, there are assistive technology devices that are available in the Indian and the American markets that can help identify or notify your caregivers and your doctors or your primary care physicians about your recent fall. So the first one is a call button and a wireless pager. So this wireless pager, you can just click on it and it will send notifications to your caregivers and your primary care physicians about your recent fall. The next one is, oh, of course, it's the one of the most expensive options you might see, but this is just to guide you that there are smartwatches available in the market that can help ask you about the emergency falls and will ask you whether you're okay or no. Finally,
Vidisha? Yeah,
yeah,
just a minute. Can you please go into slideshow?
okay.
Yeah, thank you.
And finally, there are apps where you can see that they will see a summary of how you're using your phone. So these apps, you can record your whole lifestyle about when do you get up, what are the things you do in the day. But this app will help record the time you are not sleeping or your phone is still or has suddenly experienced a change in the posture or suddenly has fallen on the floor. So through apps like these, your caregivers or your family members or your doctors would be notified that you or your family member has experienced a fall. So finally, we have all always heard that prevention is better than cure. Who doesn't agree to this? So we as OTs wanted to tell you all that preventing this fall is the most important thing you can do. As Priya and I are occupational therapists working with older adults in skilled nursing facilities here in America, we see every day that a fall is such a big barrier to recovery and a safe discharge at home. People are in so much pain and people have a hard time recovering from their primary diagnosis, and an additional fall like this can decrease their chances for recovery. So, as occupational therapists, we assure you that we will be with you all and assist you to be functionally independent and safe, even in the prevention phase and in the cure phase. So, we promise you that we will be with you on both the ends of the spectrum. These are our references. Thank you. And we can take questions now. Yeah.
Yes, we are now open for questions. You can put your questions into the chat section. We have a question. How can we work with fear of fall, and what can we do post fall with presence of fear of fall?
With fear of fall, so basically an individual just has that fear. जब भी उन्हें भरोसा नहीं होता that they can do things. So one of the most important things would be, it's a technical term, but we say cognitive retraining, where we use these strategies to tell ourselves that this is how, or this is what we are going to do. So planning our action steps and then going slowly with it and not rushing towards it. Of course, the fear of fall just gets ingrained in ourselves because of a past experience, and it gets difficult to get past that past experience. But it's also important to recognize what were the factors that came into the picture due to that fall. So it can be probably because we used a support structure like a travel bar or a sink edge, or we didn't have proper footwear, or the floor was wet, or there was lack of lighting. So addressing those issues and amending those things in our home environment can reduce the fear of fall to a certain extent. But with it, we can also incorporate the anxiety coping strategies, which can be deep breathing, going slow, planning our actions, and not, what would I say? Not going too fast with those actions, because oftentimes with the fear of fall, our body also tense because of that stress response that our body gets. So it's very important to relax our muscles and go with the flow of the movement. I think if Vidhi has something more to add to it.
So this is basically what I've seen almost in every other individual that I'm working with. And like Priya said, we use coping strategies, we use various anxiety management techniques. But definitely when we put ourselves through the action of, okay, we don't have to go to the maximum level of, oh, I'm going to go out, walk 2 blocks. If I have a fear of falling, that I'm going to go out and have a fall right on the street. No, we have to take it step by step. We have to plan our whole process, like Priya said, and we have to put ourselves through small experiences of how it's actually going to feel to do a certain activity. Only then that the body, the mind realizes that, oh, I think I'm doing good in this. I think I'm getting better at this. So that's how we as OTs have been training our patients to actually go through those activities of daily living or instrumental activities of daily living in their life, so that they can realize, or they can feel that, no, I can just do one component of it 1 week or one component for a month, but eventually it definitely gets better through experience.
Okay. Thank you so much, Vidisha and Priya, for the answer. I hope this solves your doubts, sir. The next question that we have is, how can we reduce chances of mental illness in geriatric cases?
So mental illness, I would say, is a broad spectrum term, and it can mean multiple things. It can be stress, it can be depression, it can be some of the other anxiety, it can be some of the other medical diagnoses. So it gets difficult to narrow it down, but speaking of the simplest of it, say stress or feeling depressed given the COVID situation that we are in currently, I would say engaging in those meaningful occupations, doing what you love to do, and being able to share that experience with someone else. I feel that is the biggest thing that's become a barrier in the current situation, when people are not able to socialize with others, talk to others in person or in real time, not being able to do things that they were used to doing things. So creating those experiences again at home. And I would say using those strategies, like there are a couple of strategies like mindfulness, meditation, being active, and engaging in meaningful occupations, just standing out in the balcony for that some vitamin D. Science has proven that even vitamin D helps cope with stress. And or the simplest of it, deep breathing, just taking those deep breaths and calming our nervous system down can help cope with some of those signs or symptoms of stress or mental illnesses.
Yeah. So like we were talking about habits and routines, older adults are so used to doing all their lives, it makes them feel a sense of losing something when they are in that stage and they're not able to do something that they've been doing all their life. So as family members, caregivers or therapists, we are the ones who need to increase their opportunities to do the things they've been doing all their life and enable them to do what they actually love to do. So mental health is a very broad spectrum, like Priya spoke about, but there are little things that we can do in our daily practices, in our daily routines, that can help reduce the incidences of older adults experiencing mental health issues.
Oh, also, and another one would be just involving in your day-to-day routines. Like I've seen in a couple of your videos where you all have been saying that, just ask them for some advice, or, if it's a cooking recipe, just involving them in that. How would you do it? Just making them a proactive member in your environment can also help you cope with it.
Yes, yes. And thank you. Our next question is, are any prior scale used for finding out chances of fall in comparison of both physical, psychological and social conditions?
Yes. So as OTs, and I would not say that it's only limited to OTs. We are an interdisciplinary team that are working with older adults. So there are definitely standardized tests that are helping us. In terms of like physical, it's more of like the elderly mobility scale that we see, the Berg balance test, timed up and go, functional reach test. We have access to a lot of these resources. Then there are, I think there is a scale for cognitive factors too. Like for memory impairment and things like that, I'm not sure if there's one scale that comprises all of these factors, but we do have access to each factor that can tell us where the person is functionally at in terms of mobility or in terms of participating in their ADL, and where the person is in terms of cognitive aspects. Like we have things like the cognitive assessment, we have the mini mental status examination, which just helps us to identify what level cognitively the patients are at and what level physically these patients are at, which help us OTs develop our whole treatment sessions and help us I know what the patient actually needs. So we do have access to multiple standardized tests that we can perform.
Also, there are these scales which specifically focus on fear of falling. So there are these activity-based specific assessment. It's just like 14 questions that, are you fearful of standing on a chair? Or how confident do you feel if you stand on a chair? How confident do you feel if you're in a crowded environment? How confident do you feel to reach for inaccessible places? So there are these tests which actually speaks about fear of falling. There's fall efficacy scale, which gives us, a deeper insight into if they have fear of falling and how much of it contributes to their actual activities, or how much of those things contribute as a barrier to engaging in their activities. And we can assess them, say, in a period of 8 weeks or after a particular number of sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So here just like to add something saying that these are professionally administered skills which are addressed or administered by trained professionals. These are not for common persons use. So if it's best that you go to a professional, it could be your general physician, it could be your occupational therapist, and tell them what your problems or concerns are, and they will make sure that they evaluate you on the perfect scale for your. Moving ahead, we have another question. Would those moving strategies be safe if the person has had a fracture in any body part after the fall? The video that we just saw. And would it be advisable to lay there till the medical help arrives?
Yeah. So, like I was saying, if you're recovering from a fall and if you feel like you're experiencing some pain in your body, it is definitely advisable to wait for somebody, because the way you recover from a fall or the way your joints are in a position after a fall, for example, you're dislocated your shoulder while you had a fall because you fell on your shoulder. If anybody or any caregiver is mishandling or maybe does not know how to handle that joint, we as therapists or medical professionals would always tell you that the shoulder has to be closer to your body when you're recovering from a fall, because that would decrease the chances or probably increase the way the shoulder recovers post injury. So definitely the way you recover post, if you have a fracture or if you're experiencing pain, the way you recover from a fracture or from a fall is very important, and it impacts the recovery post the fall. So and what was the other part of the question?
Should they wait for assistance? Yes.
Would it be advisable to stay there and wait for medical help?
Yes, definitely, because that would be the best way, because you don't know if you're drowsy, if you've had a head injury and things like that, and you just don't know how your body is going to respond post head injuries, right? So it's always easier to wait for help rather than just go and try to move yourself and feel like, "Oh, I'm fine." You cannot do that. You have to always wait for help. It's the best advice that we as therapists can give you.
And also, as occupational therapists, as we said, we do use or implement ergonomic strategies. So even if you are a caregiver, your body also matters equally as the one who just had a fall. So know your limitations. Caregivers out there, know your limitations as well. If you cannot do it, don't do it. Just wait for someone to do it, because we also need those right strategies to lift a person. ऐसा ना हो उसको उठाते उठाते खुद की कमर गिर गई और दोनों गिरे. So don't do that. Just wait.
Yeah. Another question that we've got is when would you recommend a tripod or a quadrupod cane for a elder person at the risk of fall?
Okay. So since we are therapists who have been very professionally trained in this part of the world, uh, there are certain things that limits our scope of practice. And to answer that question, I would rather suggest that it's in the scope of practice for physical therapists to tell you what's the best. But when it comes to just giving you a general advice, I would say that we need to evaluate first to see how you are actually doing. And we need to see, it's hard for us to give you a very broad spectrum and say, no, this is better or this is better or this is better. We need to see what surfaces you're walking on. We need to see how your body is actually working. We need to see your hand function, your hand grip, all of that, how your current balance is. We might not even suggest a tripod. We might suggest you to go to a walker instead of a tripod or a quad cane. So I would say that it's too, we can always suggest a tripod or a quad cane because of the sturdier base of support, but it's very necessary for us to see you first, evaluate you first, and know what your environment consists of and how you're walking or ambulating in your community. And that's when we can with working with the physical therapist work on the way you manage those assistive devices.
And the important aspect of it would be, do not take your own judgments. Like, leave it to the therapist. If you have certain goals, just speak it up with them and they can better assist you with it. नहीं अच्छा लग रहा है walker use करना, fine, just talk about it, but do not just stop using the walker and go to a cane or not using it at all.
That's true. We have a question. What advice will you give to a client with orthostatic hypertension?
Okay, so I mean, Priya, you can definitely add on to this, but this is like daily 10, 12 questions that we treat, and we've been so used to telling them this is how you do it, this is how you do it. It's still, but what we would say is, if you're supine on your bed, imagine your bed is just like this, and if you're supine on your bed, our first suggestion is to follow a log rolling or a segmental rolling technique, where you can go towards the side of your bed. Imagine if you have bed rails or a hospital bed at home, it's easier for the hospital bed to assist you to come to a sitting position. But if you do not have that, like we suggested, it would be a good option to have bed rails at the edge of the bed, so it can help you with the bed mobility techniques. We want you to roll over to one side. Try to reach with your opposite hand to the edge of the bed. And once that happens, we want you to slowly put your legs down at the edge and then come into a sitting position at the edge of the bed. You're going to feel dizzy. You're going to feel that you're blacking out and things like that. So what our suggestion would be to follow proper bed mobility techniques. Do not stand up immediately after sitting at the edge of the bed. You have to sit for a few seconds, at least 1 minute, see how your body is responding, see how you're feeling, and then slowly try to stand up. And even when you stand up, we do not want you to start walking immediately. We want you to see how your body is also responding. You have to see how you feel dizzy, if you feel nauseous, if you feel like throwing up, if you have blackouts or anything like that. And only then we would advise you to take your first few steps and see how you feel. So it's Priya was saying, you have to know your body, you have to know how you respond to certain changes in situation. So, but like I said, rolling over to your side is step number 1. Putting your legs down on towards the edge of the bed is step number 2. Sitting up slowly at the edge of the bed with the use of your hands is step 3. And then sitting there for some time, just seeing the response, your dizziness or things like that would be our final suggestions for bed mobility techniques.
And go slow. That's the key. Slow. And support structures. If you have a nightstand which is not that strong and sturdy, utne jao, to do not use that for support. Just
Yes.
have something sturdier by your side.
Yes, always have assistive devices closer to you when you're trying to stand up or when you're trying to walk. Because if you stand up and if you're dizzy and if you don't have your walker around you, increases your chance or risk of fall.
I guess there was a previous question about fear of fall. We have a participant, Dr. Kishore Mehta. He is he's a working homeopath. He has given some advice regarding for fear of falling. You can stramonium 33 times, and he said it will sure reduce the fear.
Okay.
Coming on the next question, are there any safe fall techniques? So are there any safe fall techniques? Do you have any take on it?
So what I would suggest is, of course, जब भी कोई गिरता है, तो it gets very difficult to catch ourselves in that moment or gauge the situation. But just be sure that you're not hitting your head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see if there are any support structures, if they can help you, like some grab bars or something that you can just hold on to and they can help you prevent it. But if you are about to fall, just assess your situation, see what things are around you, if there are some hazardous things or some pokey things in your surrounding, just deviate the path. I know that doesn't make sense because aise gir raha hai, so you cannot just deviate it, but still just making sure what is in your surrounding, and in any situation preventing that head trauma and not falling on the head.
Okay, I hope that answers your question, ma'am. So now, I guess we are almost time up, and we had a wonderful session with you, Dr. Priya and Dr. Vidisha. Like, there are many questions which there were various questions regarding what to do for outside and what could we do for other kinds of pain and mental illness. Like someone also mentioned in the chat section that it's a vast topic, the question that you all answered. So we'd like to remind you all again that Kickstarts is providing an e-clinic here for any more doubts or any more consultations regarding any other area of geriatric care, home modification, or neurological care, ergonomics, posture, or mental health, like there was this topic in one of our questions. You can write to us. We are more than happy to answer your questions and get back to you. If there were a few clients asking for references, ma'am, sir, you can mail to us or write to us or WhatsApp us. We'll get back to you on that very soon. And with this, I would like to give a vote of thanks to Dr. Vidisha and Dr. Priya for today. We can't thank you enough, Dr. Vidisha and Priya, for waking up so early on a Sunday morning, especially for us. Taking out this time throughout the week while we're working at the front line, serving the patients there, and prepping up for this wonderful webinar. We had some amazing feedbacks in the chat section that your tips were very practical and definitely going to help. From our behalf also, I'm sure it's going to help the participants today, tomorrow, and in the future. There were many people, our senior members attending, and they gave a wonderful feedback, and they were very thankful for your tips and information. So with this, you can write to us for any other doubts. We are more than happy to help you all. And to just let you all know that we are having a wonderful webinar in the following week, which is a Sunday, the 14th of June at 3 p.m. It's going to be focused on talking about mental health. So you all can come attend. All men, women, children of all age, teenagers are welcome to attend this. We have eminent speakers who are working with mental health patients and also have been a victim of such conditions. So please do come. You can write to us. We'll be more than happy to share the details with you. Thank you all for being present today. Thank you, Vidisha, Priya, and Kickstarts.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vidisha and Dr. Priya, on behalf of the entire Kickstarts team. We are very grateful to you, and we hope all the participants also have received a lot of vital information, important information, and it was an amazing session. We look forward to many more with you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We shall now be ending the meeting. Thank you all.